Hello, my name is Dante Renee, and welcome to the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more, like tonight's film, 1974's A Touch of Genie. This is directed by Joe Sarno. This is the back of the DVD. This is put out by After Hours Cinema. There's some shots from the film right there. There's Joe Sarno right there, director approved edition. This is a very, very rare film and a rare Joseph Sarno film, but it's widely available on Amazon, eBay, Diabolic DVD. I actually purchased this one on Amazon, I believe, not directly through Amazon, but through a seller. And this is A Touch of Genie, 1974, Joseph Sarno. You might recognize this girl on the cover from Teenage Hitchhikers, another film that I reviewed. That's Chris Jordan right there, who was with Sandra Peabody in Teenage Hitchhikers. So let's get into Joe Sarno's A Touch of Genie. Just a wild, fun, awesome snapshot of 1974. Here it is, folks. A Touch of Genie. My gosh, what a rare film. This 83 so minute film is such a snapshot of a long forgotten era, kind of that era of 42nd Street in New York City, the theaters there, the adult theaters there, and kind of a Jewish family, and the thrift shops and the five and dime shops, and the delicatessen down the street. I mean, you're really getting a snapshot of 1974 here. And essentially what we have is we have a lead kind of nerdy, just disgruntled character, this guy, and he's a younger guy. He lives with his mom. His dad has passed away. Very strong Jewish family, Jewish cultural family, from the accents mixing with the New York accent. And he, when he's not attending his kind of thrift shop, he loves to go down to the adult cinema, put on a crazy mask to not be noticed, watch films. And what happens is he has a friend that lives, that works down the way, a childhood friend of his. Occasionally they talk, they meet up, but something happens in the story when our lead Jewish younger guy, he discovers a genie, discovers a bottle holding a genie. And it is within that world, that environment, that A Touch of Genie lives and breathes. So let's get into this film. First and foremost, the music for this film. The music for this film really reminded me of kind of some of the score music to like a 70s sitcom, a 70s TV show, a 70s comedy TV show. Light, fun, energetic, jovial, orchestrated, but in that 70s flavor, that 70s way. We also have kind of Yiddish music and kind of some Middle Eastern music in the mix as well, with some seemingly some Middle Eastern percussive instruments and string instruments. So the music really fits the vibe of the film, which is fun, exotic, jovial, wild. But you will feel like you are watching a 70s, comedy sitcom that you used to watch all the time, and it has that vibe to it. Now, the sound design for the film is also quite crazy, because we have some fun sound effects that would almost remind you of a cartoon, of Looney Tunes cartoon sound effects, like a boing, boing, that really only happens when somebody ejaculates. Oh, did I mention that this film has like a crop of the big 70s porn stars like Harry Reams? Yes, and Tina Russell, and Mark Stevens, and yes, because part of the wishes of this film are very creatively adult, are very creatively 70s porn. So when he's going to the theaters and he's actually you're actually watching some of the movies that he's watching, and then it is within those films that our lead character is watching that he longs to live in, to be those characters, to be in that world. And that is a lot of the framework for this very creative, very adult, and very fun film. So, when we look at the style of this film, I got to tell you, I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this film, because it, there's a lot of dialogue, there's a lot of story development, there's a lot of character development, and it is really at its heart, it feels like this awesome underground, low budget snapshot of, of an era comedy. Really funny type of like just a low budget, sexy comedy, but with porno in it as well, that is actually an integral part of the wishes and the story and the theater and the world, because it is so creatively done that they actually use these 70s porn actors and actresses to be in this film. And I don't want to give too much away, but to actually kind of play other people and other situations. And there's a crazy ass twist in this film, involving the lead character's mother and family. And the way that things develop, the way that things happen and unfold in this sexy movie, is so creative and so unique. There is an incredibly fun vibe to this film, and even in the porno sequences, there's an extremely fun, wacky, crazy vibe in this film. And the porno sequences are not, that long that you would typically get in an adult film, which makes this film a freaking anomaly. How did they market this film? Because yes, you have X-rated sequences in this film, but you also have kind of an R-rated, awesome comedy of a Jewish family. And so it's this crazy mixed with some fantasy, with a genie, Chris Jordan playing the genie. She's freaking awesome. She might be playing another character as well. As a matter of fact, there might be somebody else in this film playing double characters as well. And there is a very, very fun vibe to this film. So I'm guessing this is obviously, Joe Sarno did some hardcore type films, and this would be kind of I guess thrown into that mix. But this is such a unique entry in the hardcore world, because it's really linking into the entire world, the entire story of what is happening in a jovial, fun way. I mean, can you picture Harry Reams playing other characters and with another voice, and like acting as though he's in a screwball teen sex comedy hijinks, like in another world? I mean, it's a very, very wild type of situation. This film also really captures the vibe of wanting to live in cinema, wanting to live in movies, whether it be porno films from the 70s or horror films or any type of film, but especially for us crazies who, you guys who watch this YouTube page, underground cult cinema, exploitation cinema, people, movies that most of the world considers trash, and to really have it be your heartbeat, to have it be your life. And the lead character in this film, he loves it, enjoys it, dresses in costume to go to it, because you kind of get that vibe of what the adult theaters were like. He wants to be secret and hidden and stuff. But you're also, getting that yearning and that passion to want to be there, to want to experience that. And it's something very magical and something very special. This is a very, very unique film that would be X-rated, because there is drama, there is romance, there is tons of this kind of wild comedy, and the acting is excellent. The lead character is playing such a great, kind of these bug-eyed glasses, his big nose, he has this look about him, and his name is Melvin, which just, I couldn't help but think of, the lead in Toxic Avenger. I mean, he has that down and out nerd, wants to be with the ladies type of vibe. There's a twist at the ending of the film as well. There are a variety of sexual sequences in this film. Lesbian, two girls, one guy, one girl, two guys, two girls. But the sequences, while there is ejaculation and there is oral and all of that, the sequences are actually more short-winded than in your typical X-rated feature, and because there is so much dialogue in this film as well, and it works in that particular way to be those particular lengths. This is a very unique film. What would you get, folks, if you mixed an X-rated film with a comedy, with 42nd Street, New York City in the 70s, with the kind of the porno genre, actually looking at it as a genre of cinema at a time in 74, with a Jewish family comedy, a friend buddy comedy, and romance? What do you get with all of that? I mean, what a great snapshot. 1974, A Touch of Genie. I mean, this is just a really, really wild type of film. And, sometimes, you can see Sarno's cinematography. You can see his shots sometimes of really just focusing on the girls' faces or the guys' faces. Sometimes, even though there's hardcore sex going on here, sometimes the camera is softcore. So it's very interesting. Sometimes the camera just doesn't go there. And there are those choices within the film that's very, very interesting. I also want to mention, I believe her name is Tina Russell. I'm not very skilled on all their names, but one of the adult actresses in this film was in the last sequence of Teenage Hitchhikers. She was there, and there was a massive orgy sequence at the end of Teenage Hitchhikers. That was actually her. So this is an oddball, and it's so crazy because it's innocent, fun, light comedy, feel-good comedy that also is looking at the X-rated genre, at the adult genre, and the adult world. So there it is, folks. A Touch of Genie, 1974. It looks like it's black and white, but it's not black and white. It's in color. And there are the shots again by Joe Sarno. This is a real treat. Something that is very, very unknown. And if you're into oddball stuff that you haven't seen quite before, mixing up genres and kind of turning in on itself, a little bit of fourth wall breakage, and kind of, playing off of relationships and sexual relationships and marriage and domineering Jewish mother and all of that. When you look at all of this, this is really something special. And if you're into kind of seeing X-rated cinema done completely, creatively, uniquely, and differently, with a different vibe than you're used to, this would be definitely something for you. I could even see people watching this who don't watch X-rated cinema, they don't typically, but this they might be able to. Might have to turn their head sometimes and maybe forward. I don't know. But this is A Touch of Genie, 1974. Here it is, folks. Joe Sarno, thank you so much for watching the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more, like A Touch of Genie. By the way, Chris Jordan here from Teenage Hitchhikers, amazing. And supposedly she's in a ton of Joe Sarno films, so there's going to be much more Joe Sarno, much more Jess Franco, much more teen sex comedy, much more exploitation, horror, cult, bizarre, weird, Walerian Borocek, tons and tons and tons of stuff that needs to be talked about more here. Thank you so much, folks. Have a good night.